it's very hard to work when Congress is entirely controlled by the other party. I think the truth is, the exception to what I said is when there's a realization that the only way to make progress is to work together and to make compromises. In the 25 years that I was in the policy process, the discovery of that usually involved some pretty unpleasant experience that proved that the alternative was worse. So if I go back into the 1990s, under the Clinton administration, with the Republican Congress, it was pretty resistant to working with the president until a tactic that the House Republicans, led then by Speaker Gingrich, used backfired on them. They shut the government down. It was very unpopular. The backlash meant that they couldn't do that again. And it essentially shifted the dynamics so that once adversaries said, if we're going to get anything done, which we need to, we have to work together. And it turned out that negotiating together, Clinton and Gingrich could actually get a fair number of things done, in terms of both budget and policy. In the Obama years, that never really came together. What happened in the Obama years was that the tactic that Gingrich had started in the 1990s of shutting down the government in order to create leverage was repeated. It was repeated in the form of trying to force either a government shutdown or a default on the national debt. And one might have thought that when that failed, you'd have the same kind of recalibration, but it didn't occur. There was a kind of unwillingness to find a compromise. And we ended up in situations where, candidly, very little legislative business was done other than the routine maintenance of funding of the government and the like. I mean, there were, you asked me the hardest period, it wasn't 2015. The hardest period was 2011, 2012, when with the Senate, we didn't control the House. And the House was absolutely stuck with a very conservative agenda, unwilling to engage in a serious compromise. It takes two sides to reach a compromise. It takes leaders wanting to do it and the ability to bring followers along. And both are hard. I hope that we're entering a period where there will be some ability to do that, because when you look at a Senate that's 50-50 and a House with a majority of 3 votes, very narrow margins, very easy for a very small number, even one legislator, to say, I won't go along unless. And candidly, the best thing for the country would be if we could pass things with some semblance of a real bipartisan majority. I don't think we're going to see overwhelming bipartisan majorities, given the highly polarized state of affairs today. But I don't think it's impossible that you'll see, instead of things passing by 51 votes, that things pass by 56, 57 votes in the Senate. As a practical matter, the difference between winning over the 2 most conservative Democratic votes and satisfying the 5 or 6 most willing Republican votes is not a substantive issue, it's a political issue.